Society has this really specific plan for us. It basically wants you to just accept a completely normal life, work an average job for average pay, and hey, if you're really lucky, maybe take one nice trip away every single year. And if you actually want more than that, well, they're probably going to shame you into thinking you're just being greedy. But here's the harsh truth we are exploring today. What's genuinely greedy is a system that keeps you stuck at the bottom while other people are out there enjoying total freedom. So if you're a young professional, a student, or honestly just someone starting out in your career, you are in the exact right place. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are breaking down a really powerful 5-stage roadmap to just bypass that system entirely and build real wealth.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to honestly reflect for a second on your current situation. Maybe it's your weekend job, your college side hustle, or even your very first post-grad role. Are you actively steering the ship, or are you just kind of drifting along? Because, look, life is not like some multiple choice tests in school where there's only one correct answer. There are actually a ton of right paths to success. But here's the massive catch. If you don't pick one because you're too scared of making a mistake, well, life is going to pick for you. And trust me, the default path that life assigns you, that's the one that keeps you broke.
So, to get you off that default path, we're going to walk through this step-by-step masterclass today. We've got drifting, obsession, discovery, acceleration, and finally freedom. Think of this as your ultimate step-by-step action plan for going from feeling totally stuck in the system to becoming truly wealthy.
All right, starting us off with stage 1, the trap of drifting. This is exactly where so many people get trapped right out of the gate. If you just sort of let things happen to you without a plan, the system is perfectly designed to keep your pockets empty. On one side, we have drifters. These are the people who just float from one basic job or half-hearted side hustle to the next, literally just hoping that one day they'll magically strike it big or win the lottery. But over on the other side, we have wealth builders. These individuals take total control. They steer their own direction. If you're just clocking in and out of your first job without a bigger strategy in mind, you're acting like a drifter. And you really have to remember this. Absolutely no one is waking up in the morning thinking, how can I make you rich today? You have to be the one steering the wheel. So your task for this first stage is simple, but honestly quite difficult. You need to conduct a brutally honest self-assessment of your ambitions. Are your daily actions actually matching what you say you want? The fatal mistake here is waiting around for someone else to build your dream. A lot of drifters will cope with their situation by saying things like, well, money doesn't buy happiness anyway. Let me be crystal clear about that. That is a complete lie. It's been fed to people for decades just to keep them drifting. Money equals freedom, and freedom allows you to build a genuinely happy life completely on your own terms. Moving right along to stage 2, choosing the wealth obsession. Once you finally break out of that drifting mindset, you have to make a defining choice to lock on to one singular trajectory. Your task now is to lock in and literally obsess over the singular goal of building wealth. But the fatal mistake we see all the time, splitting your focus across way too many ambitions at once. A lot of young professionals like to think they want to be rich, but really, they're just being incredibly arrogant with their time and energy. I mean, it sounds completely ridiculous when you see it spelled out like this, right? You'd probably laugh if your friend told you they were going to become a pro footballer, learn fluent Mandarin, train for an Ironman, and become a multimillionaire all by the end of this year. Getting rich is incredibly difficult. Only a tiny percentage of people actually pull it off. So why on earth do people think they can achieve it while simultaneously juggling 12 other massive life goals? Building wealth requires an intense, singular focus, especially in those early years. Which brings us to stage 3, discovering the proven pathway. Now that we've got the mindset locked in, we move to actually doing something about it. And here's the good news. You don't need to invent some revolutionary new crypto coin to get rich. You literally just need to discover what is already working right now. Consider high-return professional skills like video editing, deal negotiating, or starting an e-commerce store. If you're a student or young worker, just pick one proven pathway and absolutely commit to mastering it. But to master that skill, you need to find someone who is already successful and copy their blueprint. But please beware of who you follow. Over here on the left, we have the fake guru. This is someone whose wealth comes almost entirely from their fame, or worse, from selling you a course on how to be famous. On the right, we have the true mentor. This is someone whose money comes directly from applying their specific skills out in the real world. A credible mentor often isn't famous at all. You're going to find them in Discord communities, local sports clubs, or specialized industry groups. Look for the quiet professionals who are actually getting the real results. Your task here is to find that exact person who's a few steps ahead of you and just act like a total sponge. The huge mistake is trying to be this pure innovator and doing everything entirely from scratch. There's a great story from our source material about an author who, back in his 20s, wanted to open a radio-controlled model shop. But instead of just wildly guessing how to run a business, he went and got a Saturday job at an existing local model shop. He earned a little cash, sure, but the real value? He uncovered the exact, proven pathway from a true mentor. He asked questions, he talked to the customers, and he basically got a free blueprint that allowed him to skip years of painful mistakes.
All right, let's move to stage 4 and see how this builds. Accelerating through the grind.
So you have your skill, you have your blueprint, and now you have to actually put in the reps. To accelerate, you have to be willing to really suck at first. Your task is to seek constant, constructive criticism from outside of your bubble. And the massive mistake to avoid here is asking your friends and family for feedback. Honestly, family and friends give the absolute worst business advice to young people. Why? Well, because they love you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. Plus, they probably lack the actual industry experience to tell you when you are going down the wrong path. Like if you ask your mom about your new e-commerce site, she's going to say it looks lovely. That does not help you pivot.
You have to be able to adapt, because as the old saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. There's another really cool anecdote in the source material about a father watching his son skip university to learn videography. Now, the son didn't just practice aimlessly. He stayed super self-aware, he sought out real, harsh feedback, and he refined his work by constantly doubling down on what worked and ruthlessly cutting out what didn't. He improved extremely fast because he was fully willing to adapt.
But I have to warn you, that period of grinding and seeking hard feedback leads directly to this, the lonely chapter. This is a brutal middle ground. You're likely going to start outgrowing your childhood friends simply because they don't share your new intense ambitions. But at the same time, you aren't quite successful enough yet to meet and connect with the high-level mentors that you really look up to. It is incredibly isolating, and honestly, it's exactly where most people just give up entirely. If you find yourself in this phase, my best advice is to actively seek out communities, whether online or in person, of other young professionals who are also leveling up. That way, you don't have to do it all alone.
And finally, we reach the ultimate goal. Stage 5, freedom.
If you can just push through that lonely chapter and actually let your skills compound over time, you will eventually reach a point where you never have to answer to a boss ever again. But there is a massive trap waiting for you right at the finish line. You have to understand the absolutely crucial difference between being rich and achieving true wealth. Being rich is often just having a really high income and immediately spending it on flashy cars and designer clothes just to impress people. True wealth, on the other hand, is reinvesting that money into multiple income streams and continuously learning new skills. As you can see here, this is the exact trap that keeps high earners from becoming truly wealthy. They will so easily drop $1,000 on the absolute latest iPhone, which is a liability that literally loses value the second they open the box, but they will hesitate to spend even $200 on a course, a book, or some kind of self-investment that acts as a lifelong asset. It's just a terrible habit, blowing money on meaningless crap to impress poor people rather than adopting the wealthy habit of relentless reinvestment.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. The most valuable investment you will ever make is in crypto. It isn't real estate. It is you. You are your ultimate asset. Your task in this freedom stage is to constantly reinvest your earnings right back into your skills, stocks, or businesses. The mistake is spending it just to look flashy. Because here's the secret. Even when you have total financial freedom, the truly wealthy still dedicate hours every single day to reading, learning, and improving.
Let's bring this whole masterclass together. Here is your complete, step-by-step roadmap to take away from this explainer today. In stage 1, we stop drifting by doing an honest self-assessment, and we don't let life pick our path for us. In stage 2, we embrace the obsession by locking onto one single goal, rather than trying to juggle a dozen. In stage 3, we discover our path by finding a true mentor and copying their proven blueprint. We don't try to innovate from scratch. In stage 4, we accelerate by seeking out harsh outside criticism, totally ignoring the polite advice of our friends and family. And finally, in stage 5, we achieve true freedom by reinvesting our earnings into ourselves rather than spending it all just to impress others.
I want to leave you with this really provocative thought. Whatever you spend today, whether that is your money, your time, or your focus, you are taking it directly from your future self. You have the roadmap now. The 5 stages are right in front of you. The only question left is, what will you choose to do today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to dive deeper into mastering these financial skills. Trust me, your future self will absolutely thank you.